Hey everybody, welcome back to Rational Funk. I'm Dave King, and yeah, I'm wearing a biking vest. I try to stay in shape, I try to keep my body tuned up. Keep your body tuned up, keep your mind tuned up. That's one of the objectives of what we're doing here on Rational Funk. And today I want to talk about how dreams become reality. And everyone's, again, probably thinking to themselves, I've had some dreams that I don't want to become reality. In fact, last night I had a dream where some form of kraken, like giant squid, had my son in his jowls, just crushing my son's head. And I was like, oh my God, I was screaming that. I went, I need him for my taxes, you know what I mean? He's a dependent. Anyway, the point is I'm talking about the positive dreams that we all start with, that we turn into our realities in life. I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to be a star-architect, for instance. I didn't, for a while I was like, well, why would you want to be an architect when you could be a star-architect, like Frank Gehry or one of those other motherfuckers? So the point is today I want to talk about the genesis of most drummers' beginnings. It's almost like a double entendre, or what do they call it when you... I've probably said too much, is basically what I'm saying. I'm over-describing something. How did we begin our journey as drummers? You will hear more often than not that someone began their journey... Let me take my bike vest off, because staying in shape is important to me. It's been important to me since I started doing this. Journey of creativity, keeping your body there is important. How did everyone's journey to the drums start? A lot of times you're going to hear that it started banging on the pots and pans. Banging on the pots and pans in the kitchen. Today we're in Joe's kitchen. My kitchen looks a little bit differently. Number one, I wouldn't have mixed this type of wood, like this trim here with this type of wood. I mean, this is something that Joe's more into than me, as far as mixing genres with almost like a Victorian, right, Joe? With sort of almost like a early 50s kind of like post-war wood paneling, the salad years of American confidence, if you will. Anyway, the point is you hear from Ringo Starr, Billy Cobham, all the baddest cats. How'd you get interested in drumming? Every single time you read about these in Modern Drummer or other magazines, it's always like, well, me mom had her pots and pans, and I was banging on the pots and pans, and me mom said, what a racket! It's always a British person. It's almost like British people had no access to anything other than pots and pans until the Americans showed them what the fuck to do with it. And then you got a couple of bad cats like John Bonham. But John Bonham started, it was banging on me mom's pots and pans. You know what I mean? So let's just start with some pots and pans, and I'm going to reenact sort of the beginning of the dream. So I come in, I'm like, oh, look, the pots and pans, oh, beautiful. Holy shit! Holy fucking shit! Oh my God! I didn't... Joe, your fucking hot pans on! Give me a fucking raw... Do you have some ice? Hey, welcome back to Rational Funk. Wow, Joe had the griddle turned on there and was making some hotcakes earlier, and really hurt my hand there. The kitchen is, by the way, the most dangerous room in the house. So just be aware when you're starting to get your dream together for the drums in the kitchen to know that the most dangerous shit is in the kitchen. Knives, things that are really hot, hot sauces, limes, lemons, You know, like let's say you've got a paper cut and you're like, I'm gonna have some limeade. Think again. Okay, so let's get back at this. So I'm in my kitchen with my mom, and I grab a couple of wood spoons, and Mom is making some griddle cakes and some, well, if we're in England, what are the flapjacks? You'd start with something like that. It's something you're hearing like from some stupid kids TV show. I'm a pippin', I'm a kippin'. And those are the rhythms that you start to hear when you come from a zero art background. The first rhythms you hear is you're not hearing some super bad shit like Clyde Stubblefield if you come from fucking whatever. The normal upbringing, you're like, you're hearing like, and the cow went boo and the pig went oink and the pop. And that's how it starts. It starts with this sort of like primal attachment to the most childlike thing. So I'm down here like this. Mom is making my mom didn't really make flapjacks or anything really. My mom had to work. She got up pretty early for work. My dad didn't. I haven't even saw him. But usually I would just make like a carnation instant breakfast for myself, and she would lay out strange vitamin pills for me. I didn't have a lot of food, but anyway, you know, every now and again I would see that something was happening. She was usually just heating up like a Salisbury steak thing, like a Hungry Man dinner or something like that. But every now and again, maybe once or twice a year, you would see a pot or pan and it'd be like. And this is how my dream for the drums began. Oh, what would it sound like? I'm not going to do the English accent anymore because now I'm doing more of an autobiographical thing, and I'm not I'm not sure what my descent is, but I don't think it's English. Here we go. What up? Well, I almost went into what about the metal spatulas? Whoa, I'm hearing something else there. I'm not hearing the wood, which maybe I'm hearing something else, which could transcend into like a plastic tip stick later on, which I think is fucking nightmare. If you play plastic tip sticks, for instance, I think you probably don't know anything about tone. But anyway, if you are someone that, God forbid, plays tips with plastic tips, sticks with plastic tips, maybe you were someone that favored the spatulas, the metal spatulas. Where I was a wood dude, and that's how you begin your ears, training your ears for the different tones. It's not that big of a leap, let's say, from pip-dee, pip and the cow went pip and the something like that, to a love supreme, you know? A love supreme. And your dream begins, it launches, you know, from there you stand up, you grow up, and from there you're like, I would like, a snare drum, I would like a whatever, can I get maybe I'll get a paper route and I'll get a snare drum, maybe I'll start selling weed in 7th grade, maybe I'll, whatever, just to do whatever you need to do to be able to get your drum dream started. And that's how you get the gig later in life.